Be Wealthy and Smart, episode 555.
Step into a world of wealth and financial freedom without budgets, boredom, or bosses on Be Wealthy and Smart. And now, here's your host, Linda P. Jones.
Welcome to Be Wealthy and Smart. I'm Linda P. Jones, America's Wealth Mentor, empowering women and men worldwide to financial freedom. On today's show, we're going to talk about 5 strategies for raising financially smart children. And I haven't really talked a lot about this, but I thought it would be fun to review this article that I found on CNBC that went through these 5 strategies and made a lot of sense to me. This article was written by Jill Cornfield, and it's called Make Sure Your Kids Grow Up Smart About Money with These Strategies. There's a couple of bullet points, and the first one is family life requires some money, but with a twist. You've got to keep different timelines and goals in mind, and most parents want their kids to learn some money skills. And the second key point is smart families share their best strategies for teaching their kids, whether they're 3 or 13, how to handle their own finances. And the article says, money is big and it's all around us. Adults who have learned from experience about irresistible sales pitches can find it hard to make good financial decisions. Imagine what it's like for a wide-eyed 8-year-old to confront a dizzying array of choices. We know what can happen in the future if we don't save. Is it reasonable to expect a first grader to understand the future consequence of present decisions? In fact, you can teach kids to understand money, whether they're 3 or 13. And who better than you to deliver those lessons? After all, the family is the first place most of us learn about money. Over a third of respondents in the Invest in You savings survey said their financial role model was a parent. Men had a slight edge as the go-to parent. 19% of participants said it was their dad, and 18% said it was their mom. Thomas Henske, a certified financial planner with Lennox Advisors, likes this metaphor. Why do we expect kids to know how to handle money when we don't put it in their hands to let them practice? Imagine your kid wants tennis lessons. You drop him off at the courts, but you've neglected to bring one critical thing, a racket. So the fundamental component he needs in order to learn is missing. The same analogy can be said for money. Why do we expect kids to know how to handle money when we don't put it in their hands to let them practice, Henske said. Most kids don't stumble on money on their own. They get to college and lacking experience with money leads to disastrous results, Henske said. Kids often don't understand how credit works, so they sign up for a credit card at a school event and use it to pay for a pizza with their pals. Unless someone has been armed with some basic financial knowledge, that can turn into a ruinous situation, Henske said. All right, so the first strategy of the 5 strategies is called needs versus wants. One of the biggest things you can teach your kids is the difference between needs versus wants. Any 7-year-old can see the difference between ordering a $3 soda in a restaurant and drinking water, which costs nothing. Drinking is a need, Henske said. Drinking Coke or lemonade is a want. Patty Valeri, a senior wealth strategist at PNC Wealth Management, recommends cluing kids into family discussions about other expenses, such as a car or an upcoming vacation. Having the conversation sooner than later is important, even if it seems like it's over their heads, she said. Let them hear decision-making around how you spend money. Just want to pause here and say that was one thing that my family did was we talked about money and investing at the dinner table. We literally had conversations about the family investments, what was going on, real estate that the family owned. There were different conversations we had. I remember even talking about individual stocks and companies and new technologies and what my dad was investing in with his stockbroker. Just different conversations about money that were educational, enlightening, really opened up a whole new world to me and made me aware of this other thing that was out there that I needed to get interested in and find out more about. All right, the second strategy in the article is to rethink consumerism. Some families take living large literally. Wendy Juvenile Mays, 48, a criminal defense attorney, is the mother of 6. She recently retired her law practice to spend more time with her family. I couldn't be the best at both, so now I stay home, Mays said. On the side, she runs a podcast for families about financial independence. With 8 in the family, almost everything needs to be supersized, from meals to vacation plans to the size of their car, which needs to accommodate more people. Food is a challenge, and Mays says that getting meals on the table means stretching the budget creatively. We have to really think about consumerism, Mays said. When she was folding laundry, she noticed that all the kids' jeans had holes. Previously, she might have run out to buy more. Now she says she'll mend the holes and they'll all make do with what they have. A family of 8 living on one salary means living on less while still finding ways to live large. When May's husband was asked to chaperone a school trip to Disneyland, he asked if he could purchase additional tickets at a discount so the whole family could go. When a relative passed away, it meant the family had to drive 14 hours because flying would have cost $3,500. Those are the choices we have to make, Mays said. Strategy number 3, take care of yourself. Working while you juggle responsibilities and manage to pay for daycare is a challenge for parents of younger kids. This stage can seem as if it will never end, Valeri said. Care is expensive, and generally people are at an earlier career stage, so they are earning less money. Even amid a busy life with small kids, Valeri said you need to look after yourself so that you can be there for them. Make sure you put away money for retirement and take full advantage of anything available, Valeri said. Take full advantage of the company 401k plan if you have access to one. If you're self-employed, use an individual retirement account. Check out your company's healthcare options. Even if there are just a few plans to choose from, understand all the terminology so you grasp how the plan's copays, deductibles, and coinsurance all work. If you have access and can spare some more money, fund a health savings account to offset future healthcare costs. Number 4, lay a foundation. Nicholas Hartford, 32, didn't want his son to grow up with the same bad money examples he'd gotten from his father, who spent freely but ran into financial difficulties. A field service engineer in Maryville, Tennessee, Hartford wants Skylar, age 10, to understand money basics, from simple banking concepts to cost versus value. Spending can lead to a good outcome or to nothing at all, he said. Both parents talk about cost and value in terms Skylar can understand. If a toy costs $20 or $30 but is likely to break within a few days, is it worthwhile spending that money? For about a year, the family has been holding regular monthly budget meetings. Since then, Hartford has watched his son's spending habits change. He wants things that have more value, he said. Some video games run as high as $60, and Skylar will look for ways to save up or earn money for these. He is more interested in cost and value. Skylar can earn money doing chores, and he is tasked with managing the family's $100 monthly lawn care budget. When he wants something, his parents will ask him to look around the house and see what he can do. Take out the trash or do dishes, for instance, to earn the money. He will usually negotiate, and he understands that he needs to do something that helps out so he can get something. Hartford's advice is to be patient. They're coming from no knowledge at all on the subject, he said. We try to use basic terms and oversimplify things. Number 5, give an allowance. When it comes to how kids learn to handle money, the weekly allowance is critically important, Henske said, and he doesn't believe in tying it to doing chores or getting good grades. Now, I'm going to disagree with that, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. The article goes on to say the allowance is a way to teach kids how money works, how to budget, how to plan their spending. If you just give a kid money whenever he wants it, how does he learn, Henske said. When they are young, Henske recommends $1 for each year, starting at age 10. They'd get $10. To parental objections, that $10 seems like a lot of money. Henske asks parents to consider how much money they spend on their kids every week. Show me a parent who's not spending $10 a week on their kid, he said. Learning about money and behavior are two separate conversations, and there will always be a reason to dock them. Use the allowance as a financial teaching tool and leave the emotions out of it. Henske likes letting kids choose how to allocate money into 3 categories: spending, saving, and charitable giving. parents can match dollar for dollar or a percentage depending on what matters most. To encourage kids to save, you could match by an equal amount. The spending jar generally does not receive a match. It's such a personal thing, he said. A family might care more about donating time and volunteering than giving money to charity. End of article. I will leave a link to this article on my website and in the show notes, but I wanted to read to you a little bit from my book, You're Already a Wealth Heiress, Now Think and Act Like One, 6 Practical Steps to Make It a Reality Now, so that you could hear what I had to say about kids, because I disagree with him that you should just give your kids money. The way my parents taught me about money was tying it to work. So automatically, whenever I thought about how to get money, I thought about what do I have to do in order to earn money? What work is there that's available? And to even be creative sometimes about finding what work is available and being able to work to make some money. But here is something I wrote from page 146 in my book. This is from a section called Advice on Improving Things with Your Kids. It's just a small excerpt. There's more in the book about this, but this is the part I really wanted to stress to you today. What are your actions today showing your kids? What is the learning legacy about money that you are passing on? My parents also taught my siblings and me the value of work. When I was young, I learned I had to work to make money, so I looked for jobs to do around the house instead of asking for handouts or an allowance. It was an important and life-altering lesson to know the difference between working for money and looking for handouts. One creates financial independence, while the other creates financial dependence. Teaching your kids to work for money will help make them financially successful. What are you teaching your kids about work? Do they understand not only from how hard you work, but also from their own efforts? How do you help them with their spending priorities? When your children and partner truly become collaborators in building a family fortune, it will help build a wealth of teaching moments and experiences that can bring you closer together working on shared goals. So there you have it. I really think that it's important that kids earn the money and not just be given an allowance, but that's just my opinion. You might have a different experience and a different opinion. Nonetheless, I think there's some good information in here on how to raise financially smart children. You definitely are their wealth mentor, their first wealth mentor. So getting them familiar with money, learning about money, good habits about money, and positive thoughts about money are all important things for your kids and to get them started at an early age. But I know you're already working on that. If you haven't yet subscribed to Be Wealthy and Smart, please hit the subscribe button and you'll be updated as soon as new podcasts are available 3 times a week. And don't forget, we have a short financial survey. Take a moment, please, and answer 10 quick questions about the podcast so I can continue to make podcasts geared just for what you want. That's all for today. Until next time, live the good life and be wealthy and smart.
Thank you for listening to Be Wealthy and Smart with Linda P. Jones. Share the wealth and tell your family and friends about the show. Check out our website, blog, and social media for more riches at www.bewealthyandsmart.com.